the last game that I want to be able to talk about is a popular one. It was very popular, considered already a game of the year 2019, and it came out like in the first week of January. And that's it's Wingspan.
Wingspan, flap, 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 flap.
Yeah. Wingspan, let me get up my notes here because I'm professional.
Okay, as you do that, I'm very interested because I'm hesitant on picking up this game.
Yeah, I was in the same boat. So I had the opportunity to play it this, I think a week or two ago now. A little bit. No. It was on Wednesday. It was an odd day. Yeah, Wednesday this week. But let's get into it. Wingspan designer is Elizabeth Hargrave, and artistry done by Ana Maria Martinez Jaramillo, Natalia Rojas, and Beth Sobel, with publisher being Stonemeier Games, who made that small little game called Scythe, and Euphoria, and Charterstone.
Okay, Charterstone is great. Euphoria is great. Scythe is great. What else have I played by them? I think that's it.
My Little Scythe?
And My Little Scythe is great.
Is there anything that isn't great?
Like in regards to that, or like
just Stonemeier Games.
Oh, just Stonemeier Games. I don't know. I tend to like ones that are just his games.
Sure.
But then again, I haven't tried Between Two Cities.
Oh yeah, that's right. Between Two Cities.
So, talk to us about this one.
Yeah, I will. So Wingspan is I would say medium weight card Euro engine builder, which I know is a lot of words in a sentence, but it's an engine builder with cards that involve birds, pretty much. And in this game, what you're doing is you are having an entire tableau in front of you that will eventually get a bunch of birds on it. And part of this tableau is going to involve 4 different actions that you can take. And the more that you go right column-wise, the more expensive it is to place more birds on your tableau. So what's going to happen is in this game, like I said, you're going to get this huge player tableau, and there's 4 different actions you can take. So you can play a bird onto your tableau as an action. You can gain food as an action. You can lay eggs as an action, or you can draw bird cards as an action. So you do one of those 4 things throughout the game. And what you're trying to do is you're finding these birds, and these birds have points listed on them. They have a special type of nests that matter for certain endgame scoring, and then they have abilities. And these abilities, as you start taking actions, so like say for instance, if you play a bird and you play it onto one of the open left-hand spaces and it works its way outward to the right, if you want to take an action of laying eggs, you take a cube that you will have. So you accumulate like these action cubes and you bring them over and you say, okay, I'm going to place a cube here at lay eggs and I'm going to lay some eggs. So you do is you take those eggs and you put them on birds. And then you move it over to the left and there will normally be a bird on it. And if that bird has a when activated, then you do the ability on that specific bird, which allows you to say, hey, lay another egg, or hey, you can now play another card, or accumulate this food, or all players accumulate this food. So what ends up happening is you're trying to find this neat little combo of being able to find birds that mesh well together, or being able to, like, whenever you do a lay eggs action, you just activate these series of birds that give you really great benefits as you move along this player tableau. And that's all you do. There are certain different types of conditions as you play through all 4 of these rounds. So for instance, like, again, you have like a total of 8 cubes at the beginning of the game. And then what ends up happening is that once you spend all of those cubes, you go and you look at this track and say, okay, who has the most amount of birds on the draw birds track? And then you take a look at it, and then whoever has the most gets points, and you take one of your little action cubes and put it on there, denoting that you score those points. And then 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, depending on who you're all playing with. And then you have like a secondary, like a second round that happens that has a very specific a goal that you need to meet in order to score more points. And the game just kind of continues on and on like that. It's very simple to grasp. And what was interesting is that when I was being taught the game, near the end of the teach, I was sitting there looking at my player board and I started nodding. And my friend Gates was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm like, I get it. I get why this game is so good because of this whole process. It's
Yeah.
it's this great mixture of just a solid engine building game with fantastic production, and it just like and great illustration. It just hits every single one of these specific like goals, I would say, very, very well. Now, I'm not going to say that it is a perfect game, but
Right.
I can understand why people got this at the beginning of the year and they're like, holy crap, like this is a great start to the year.
Is it because it's accessible?
It's accessible. I would say so. I would say it's accessible. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so-
It's
so
not
the reason I
intense. It's not really intense. The birds, I think, add this like really not calming effect, but it just makes the game so approachable.
Do you think it would get repetitive after a while? I mean,
I guess specify repetitive. Like,
so there are a bunch of different birds. I understand that, but you're essentially building up an engine every time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, would you find yourself just building up the same engine each time, or is it easy to pivot halfway through the game, or do you kind of have to stick with what you've done and then just kind of go through the same actions every single time?
well, theoretically, like you have 3 different engines that you're building.
Right.
Theoretically, right? So you have the draw food engine row, and then you have the lay eggs engine row, and then you have the draw bird engine row. Now, I would imagine with future playthroughs, the more you get invested into it, I think you'll find, because so while each bird is unique, you'll find that sometimes the activated ability of that bird will tend to be repeated among certain other birds. Right, so they aren't all completely unique. You're not looking at a completely unique game as far as that goes. I mean, there is going, like I said, there's going to be repeated elements into it. So, but I mean, like with any game, the more that you the more you end up playing it. I mean, sure, you're going to know what type of birds you're going to look out for when you're dealt those cards at the beginning. So at the beginning of the game, you like get a hand of cards and you're like, you got to keep these birds, but you have to spend food for the ones that you keep. So it's like the less birds you keep, the more food you have to be able to get from the bird drafting card thing, or when you draw 2 bird cards. But the more birds that are great that you play, like you don't have those food tokens to either play them with, and what have you. Yeah. So like,
I want it. I want the world. I want the whole world.
Yeah, it's like I said, I totally understand why this game, I think, has gotten the accolades that it has. I'm trying to think though. So the people that I played it with, there was this one combo that my friend Brad was able to trigger where he was able to essentially he played a card on his lay eggs track. And whenever he took the lay eggs action, he could discard an egg to be able to draw a card, or like to draw 2 cards, which meant that he never had to use his bottom row of draw 2 bird cards. So he was able to really like accelerate his deck or his engine. By the time like the whole game ended, it was like he had eggs on every single bird. And it still ended up kind of being not like a complete total destruction of like he won, but it was like he won handedly. But cool. He was able to find this kind of interesting combo. So it's like now if he were to ever play the game again, he might look out for that. But I mean, in thinking about it, I've been trying to, as I've been going through this waxing and waning of buying board games and selling board games, I still sometimes will have troubles in being able to correlate between what I need to buy versus what I need to play. Yeah. And Wingspan falls in this category of wanting to play, and I'm glad I did, but not necessarily feeling I need to buy it. Even though, here's the thing though, even though I would buy it, I think I would play it a lot. And I don't understand. This game is fun, but yet I just don't have the urge to buy it. And I don't know if it's just where I'm at in the phase of the moon that is like, okay, I'm just not going to get wings. It's really weird. I think this game honestly would be like if it's there and it's like, I don't know. Like, I think, it'd just be one of those things where I end up getting it on a total whim because I remember how great it was when I played it. And I know I could probably teach this to my parents or whomever, and I think the idea of birds and like being like, hey, if you want to do an action, then just move it to the left and you just follow the card. It's simple. It's simple. And then you got little cute eggs that look like candy.
No.
And
okay, I definitely got to try this game. I got to try it first. I think that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's so accessible is what is making it really interesting to me.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, how many games do I need of that weight? But I don't think I have an engine builder of that weight, and I think it fills a hole in my collection. Right? I've got Terraforming Mars, which is a great engine builder game, right? But it's a bit on the heavier side. And I think this one would.
See, here's
I got to hunt down a copy.
So here's the thing, though, is that you could easily swap out the bird theme for a Pokemon theme.
Oh my gosh, how amazing would that be?
I mean, it's just the exact same thing, right?
Oh, yes.
I imagine somebody's in the works right now, like retheming this as a Pokemon game.
That would be
sweet. Stonemeier could literally just pitch this to Nintendo and be like, Pokemon Span, and they'd be like, oh my god, did they just toss them like a truckload of money?
My Little Wingspan.
My Little Wingspan.
Do it, Jamie.
There would need it's just some other things to note as well too. There are end goal objective cards that you need to meet that give you a little boost of points. What's weird though is that they aren't like, if you dive totally into them, it doesn't give you the benefit that you would think that they should give you. Like a lot of the times if you're given an end game goal condition, it's like, oh, they're worth like a lot of points, but a lot of the times it's just going to give you a little bump. Which I was told ahead of time, but I would have definitely been in that camp of like, yeah, I'm going in on these cards, and yeah, they're definitely not meant to be that way. But yeah, production value wise, like I said, it's crazy because people still want to bling out this copy, and I mean, it's like Stonemeier went out of their way, I think, in terms of like the eggs, the custom game tray holders, just the overall production. Only thing that I don't like is that they give you these little tiny wood cubes. Like this is the weirdest thing. That's these kind of little tiny wood cubes that can sometimes like it, because there isn't also a good way as well too when you take an action, there isn't like a place where you put them to see where you spent. So it's easy for you to lose track on what cubes that you've spent versus what you didn't.
Interesting.
That's like the one thing. I mean, usually you have them on one side of the board and you move them over to the other side, but normally there's so much graphic design that tells you like where things should go. It just seemed natural that there should be something, or like notches in the board where you could tuck them in so that at least you know that you've spent them. Right, it happened once or twice in our game where you kind of were like, I have 2 cubes left, how many does other people have? And you're like, I have 4, and you're like, oh crap, like what did I do? So but yeah, another slam dunkerino for the Stonemeier crew. Like it's a good game. Like I said, I definitely get the hype, and I think it good.
It good. So we're gonna start, speaking of Stonemeier, I think we're gonna start our Rise of Fenris campaign coming up soon.
Ooh, cool.
Get some Scythe in. It's been a while since I played Scythe, and there's nothing more I'd want to do than play Scythe 8 times in a row. So
I heard. Actually, I should put you in touch with my friend. He did a Rise of Fenris campaign, like complete, like straight.
I did look through everything, so just to prepare because I am too impatient. So I did look through everything, and it looks great. So, but no one else has in the group, so that's how I rationalize it. It's fine. I'm a good person. Should we? Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about with Wingspan? I got distracted.
No,
because it's right in front of my face.
Do you? No.
Right.
No, I don't have anything. I think it falls for me in the camp of definitely play it. Like I said in my tweet, like play this game because I think you will like it.
Okay, I will. I think.
It's just and it's weird too because I can't think of another game right now that currently I could see beating it. I mean, I do definitely see it being in some like game of the year conversation down the line.
Right.
Let's just put it that way. I think that is definitely in the cards for that game. So
is it better than Root? I'm just kidding. But that should be our new segment.
Is it better than Root? Nah.
No,
it definitely is not.
That's because nothing is. Let's be honest. No, I'm just kidding. That's a stupid comparison. That holds no weight at all. All right, that's cool. Wingspan Arena.
Wingspan Reno by Stonemeier Renos.